The internet's golden boy Ryan Trahan
Howdy.
claims that his new candy brand Joyride is the best new candy on the planet. But no matter how hard I try, I haven't been able to get my hands on it to confirm or deny that statement. Now I could sail across the ocean to pick myself up a bag of that sweet, sweet candy. However, I do have a game plan that might just convince Ryan to release Joyride right here in Australia. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. See, if I could somehow create a completely original video game with an epic backstory, slapping graphics, and challenging gameplay, it might just be enough to convince Ryan that Australians want Joyride too. Though I should point out that I have very little game development experience, almost zero game development experience. Where the heck do I even start? Alrighties, legends. Now there's a lot of great material to reference from what I'm calling the Ryan Cinematic Universe. Because before we get too deep into the technical design and coding of this game, we need to start with a compelling backstory. And luckily for us, the RCU consistently features icons such as the game plan, Joyride Candy, the words
Howdy.
Ryan's dog Spock, and of course his wife, Haley. So I've got to come up with a backstory that includes all of these elements without them just appearing out of thin air. I wonder what Ryan would do. See, if Ryan was to make his own video game, I feel like he would set it in the Wild West. Ooh, that's good. He is from Texas after all, and he's no stranger to a cowboy hat in his branding.
Howdy.
Boys from Texas drive a Lexus. Is that a thing? Do people say that? No, every great video game has a great backstory, and this one has to slap. What if the backstory went something like this? Late one night, Ryan was in the Joyride factory crafting a brand new flavor. Out of nowhere, all the machines started making a weird noise, and suddenly a black hole opened up and sucked all the Joyride candy in. In absolute shock, Ryan dove into the black hole trying to catch the candy, when all of a sudden, he awoke in the middle of the Wild West. He had been teleported back in time, but all Ryan could think about was the missing Joyride candy and what would happen if someone in the past found it. A paradox. A paradox would happen if someone else found it because it was in the past. Will Ryan find all of the missing Joyride candy before it's too late? There's only one way to find out. Chef's kiss. Tell me you wouldn't watch that movie right now. Okay, it's not a perfect backstory. Some might even say it's just the plot of Back to the Future 3 with more Ryan Trahan. But I really want to make something good here. This game has to slap. Because like many of you, I'm a pretty big fanboy, if you couldn't tell. Plus, Ryan commented on one of my videos one time and it just made me feel good inside. Not in a weird way, like in a wholesome way. So let's return the favor and build Ryan a video game, which requires slapping graphics. And what better place to start than with some Joyride candy? Okay, one bag of Joyride candy coming right up somehow. So let's start off with this cube. Extrude. No, that's not what I want to do. All right, okay. I have a rectangle. Now I just need to work out how to add this Photoshopped Joyride packaging that I was working on. Yeah, that doesn't look right. Oh boy, this whole thing sounded way easier in my head. But who am I kidding? I've never actually 3D modeled before. And no matter what I tried, I couldn't get the graphic to line up with the model. Modeling it from scratch may not be the move. Stumped for what to do next, I asked myself a very important question. What would Ryan do? Well, he is a pretty resourceful dude. I mean, he sold water bottles to get across America. So instead of 3D modeling it from scratch, what if I search for 3D models of snack packages? That's what my wife calls me, by the way. She doesn't, that's really weird. Hey, that could work. Yeah, I know, in hindsight, it was the obvious solution. If I can put this packaging in. Yo, yes, that's so good. That's so good. That is literally, that's what I was looking for. That is one tasty looking Joyride collectible. This is looking good, and I think we can spice it up a little more. But before we do that, I think we need to build the environment for the game. No pressure, but an environment can make or break a game. But not to stress, because we spent the time to come up with an epic backstory, we know that the game needs to be set in the Wild West, which means we need assets to build a Wild West environment. Okay. I'm building this game in Unity so we can use the Unity asset store to try and find something. Let's see here. Wild West. Dude, there are so many options. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Seeing all these assets is pretty overwhelming. But I knew all I had to do was ask myself a very important question. What would Ryan do? Well, I'm glad you asked, Zach, because I feel like Ryan's whole vibe is wholesome. It's honestly what I love about his videos. There's always a moment that just makes you feel, oh. That was a weird noise, I'm sorry. So I'm looking for a wholesome Wild West pack. Does that even exist? Yo. Look at the saloon, bro. There's so many assets to choose from. Holy crap. It just keeps going. This is so much more than we need right now, but this is a perfect place to start. Far out. Now that we've got a sick environment, I need some characters for this game. The obvious ones being a Mr. Ryan Trahan and his lovely wife, Haley. Haley is her own person. I don't know why I just keep referring to her as Ryan's wife, but the Wild West asset pack we have actually comes with a bunch of really great character models. This is the one that I'm thinking for Haley, and I'll explain that later, but we need to find one for Ryan. Yeah, none of them really look like him, but if Ryan went back to the Wild West, he probably wouldn't be wearing a white singlet and shorts anyway. That's pretty good. I mean, Ryan doesn't wear glasses and he doesn't have crazy sideburns, but if he was in the Wild West, he would. I think this character model is great, and hopefully it's not too crazy to animate. Please don't be too crazy to animate. Well, luckily for me, this wasn't my first rodeo. In my last attempt to make a video game, I did learn how to use this platform called Mixamo. It's a free library of animations that you can just add to your character models, which is kind of nuts. I need a running animation and a jump animation. I'm assuming I'm going to need a jump in this game. So I downloaded all the animations I needed and connected each of them to the model. Yes, let's go. We've got him walking. Come on. That's so good. Are his hands really big? Things are finally starting to come together. We might be able to actually pull off a Ryan Trahan video game, bringing us one step closer to Joyride right here in Australia. Now at this point, you're probably wondering, bro, what is this actual game gonna be? Yeah, that's a real good question. I mean, honestly, the opportunities are endless. We could make this thing a puzzle game, a racing game, a Ryan Trahan horror game, but then I asked myself a very simple question. Repeat after me, everyone. What would Ryan Trahan do? Now, I don't know about you, but Joyride's vibe screams 2000s, like early 2000s. Then what's more 2000s than the classic side-scroller? Dude, side-scrolling games were the freaking best. They're still the best. And just like Ryan's videos, I feel like anyone could get on board with a side-scroller. And I don't know, man, something tells me Ryan would agree. So I started using the Wild West assets to create platforms and obstacles for the player to get around. And of course, I needed to make sure I had spots to hide the Joyride collectibles. And man, these Wild West assets are kind of perfect. I then shuffled around some of the train line assets and added this epic steam train that the player could jump over. With the level design pretty much mapped out, it was time to add in the Joyride collectibles. And I added some particle effects to make it look like a AAA game. And honestly, just like this, it looks so good. And even seeing Ryan's character standing there ready to go got me so excited. I needed a way to introduce the premise to the player. And what better way to do that than by using Spock, Ryan's dog. What a freaking cutie. I'm pretty pumped because this does look so good, but there's a big problem. Right now the game is missing the one thing it needs to actually work, and that is code. I always do this, man. I always leave the hardest stuff to the end, but I'm still keen to give it a go. So let's start with moving Ryan around the map. Somehow. So with the help of a few tutorials, I started writing some code. I was able to get Ryan to run and jump, which is pretty dang sick, but I was having a hard time trying to get him to interact with the collectibles. And I really couldn't get my head around how to get him to jump on top of buildings and items. Determined to get it done, I kept sinking a bunch of time into code. But man, was I struggling just to get the basics of a platformer to work correctly. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. A platformer should be so simple. So I asked a question I should have asked a long time ago. What would Ryan Trahan do? See, in every one of his videos, Ryan challenges himself. And of course, to complete that challenge, he has to be resourceful. And along the way, he has these wholesome moments with sometimes strangers. And it really does feel like everyone and anyone can appreciate his videos. But the reason I'm such a fan is that he takes those challenges head on. And it reminds me that I don't need to be an expert to try something new. I just need to take the challenge head on. I think I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do. Yep, I found exactly what I needed. A library of code and assets for building side-scrolling games. But there is something still missing. We still haven't given Haley the epic role she deserves, so let's add to our backstory. See, what if Haley also went back in time to the Wild West? But she doesn't care about the candy. She's trying to snap Ryan out of it and bring him back to the future. I just finished adding Haley in, and I think it's done. I think the game's done. This is Joyride, the video game. I need you to tell me whether this is good or not, bro, because I don't know.
Why? I forget that I'm playing a game that you made. This feels sick. How do I? Oh, okay. You put this on Steam, bro? Oh!
It may not be a fully complete game, but man, am I stoked with how this looks and feels to play. And I'm just glad Toby dug it too.
I forgot that I was playing a game that you made. I can't, there's the only way that I can describe it. This is kind of next level. Like, I'd buy that tomorrow. That's crazy.
You're meant to say that because we're friends.
Doing it because the camera's out. No, I'm just no.